Does divine foreknowledge preclude human freedom? In this video, I'll summarize an argument that it does, then summarize 6 possible responses to that argument. Welcome, I'm Jordan, and this is The Analytic Christian, the channel that helps you explore Christian philosophy and theology. You may think that your choice to watch this video right now is free. After all, doesn't it seem like you could choose to turn it off or keep watching? Well, if God exists, then perhaps you aren't as free as you think. It looks like you must watch this video. Here's an argument to show you why. 1. You have no choice about God believed 1,000 years ago that you would watch this video today. 2. Necessarily, if God believed 1,000 years ago that you would watch this video today, then you are watching this video today. 3. Therefore, you have no choice about you are watching this video today. That's a pretty shocking conclusion, and it's even more shocking when you realize that if this argument works, it generalizes to all human behavior. With that in mind, we need to ask ourselves 2 questions. Is this argument logically valid? And are the premises true? The question of the argument's validity is tricky because the argument relies on a controversial rule of inference. This rule of inference is called Rule Beta. Others call it the transfer principle. Basically, it says that if you have no choice about X, and X entails Y, then you have no choice about Y. This rule seems plausible to me. I can't think of a good counterexample. But if you don't accept it, no worries. The argument can be reformulated without the transfer principle. Check the description of the video to see this alternative form. So what about the premises of this argument? Are they true? Well, the first premise seems true because the past is outside of our control. It's fixed. I can add to the given past, but I can't change it. This intuitive idea is what lies behind sayings like, "There's no use in crying over spilled milk." What about the second premise of the argument? Well, that seems true as well because we've assumed God is essentially omniscient, and a feature of omniscience is infallibility. So God is infallible. His belief 1,000 years ago that you would watch this video today can't be wrong. There are 2 broad types of responses to this argument. There are compatibilist responses and incompatibilist responses. A compatibilist response aims to show that divine foreknowledge and human freedom are compatible. An incompatibilist response accepts that divine foreknowledge and human freedom are incompatible, but also says that for one reason or another, this isn't a problem. There are at least 3 different compatibilist responses: timelessness, optimism, and dependence. The timelessness response says that we should deny premise 1, since it's false, strictly speaking, that God believed anything 1,000 years ago. God is outside of time. The challenge for this response just seems to push the problem back a step. The original argument can be modified so that the same conclusion is reached even if we assume God is timeless. You have no choice about God timelessly believes that you would watch this video today. Necessarily, if God timelessly believes that you would watch this video today, then you are watching this video today. Therefore, you have no choice about you are watching this video today. Optimism is a view that says there are 2 kinds of facts about the past, hard and soft. A hard fact is entirely about the past, while a soft fact is partly about the past and partly about the future. An example will help. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 is a hard fact about the past, while Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809, 212 years before you watch this video, is a soft fact. The optimist would then respond to the main argument by denying premise 1, because only the hard past is fixed, and God's beliefs count as soft facts. One big challenge for this response is that whether or not God had a certain belief in the past doesn't seem to be partly about the future. Another is that there are problems with various accounts of what makes a fact about the past soft. The dependence response says that we should deny premise 1 because you do have a choice about what God believed in the past. God's past belief that you would watch this video depends on your free choice to watch this video, not the other way around. And our freedom isn't constrained by what's dependent on our choices. A challenge for this response is that it requires us to think that we have the power to act such that the past would have been different. But it sure seems like the past is fixed. Now let's shift to 3 incompatibilist responses: open theism, semi-compatibilism, and free will skepticism. The open theist thinks that God lacks comprehensive foreknowledge, even though God knows everything it is possible for an infallible being to know. How do those two claims fit together? Well, some open theists think that there are no contingent and undetermined truths about the future. Other open theists think that there are truths like that about the future, but if God knew these truths, we would not be free. Either way, the open theist thinks we should deny premise 1, since God didn't believe 1,000 years ago that you would watch this video today. There are 2 challenges for this view. First, there may be philosophical problems, depending on which way the open theist goes with respect to the truths about the future. Second, it may be theologically problematic for some, since it goes against the vast majority of Christian tradition. These next 2 incompatibilist responses are interesting because they actually accept the conclusion of the main argument, but for one reason or another think this isn't problematic. The semi-compatibilist thinks that free will does not require alternative possibilities. They appeal to Frankfurt-style cases to show that a person can be morally responsible even when they could not have done otherwise. To be free, the person just needs to be the source of his or her decision. So the semi-compatibilist accepts the main argument, saying it successfully shows that humans don't have alternative possibilities, but it does not rule out human freedom in the sourcehood sense. A challenge for this view is that it might be incompatible with the free will defense to the problem of evil. On this view, it seems like God could have determined everyone to always act rightly without taking away their freedom. And if that really was possible, why didn't God do that? Lastly, the free will skeptic thinks that humans do not have free will. So they accept the main argument and say that you have no choice about watching this video right now. An immediate challenge for this response to the main argument is that it requires one to give up the belief that we are morally responsible agents. Additionally, Christians who take this skeptical position will have to give up a traditional view of sin. Now, you may be thinking that I've left out a solution. What about Molinism? Well, Molinism is not a solution to the problem of human freedom and divine foreknowledge. Why? Molinism itself just presumes the compatibility of divine foreknowledge and human freedom. It doesn't provide an objection to any premise or inference rule of the main argument. So the Molinist will have to appeal to at least one of the solutions I've offered. With all that said, does this argument work or not? If not, why? Which of the solutions do you find plausible? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to explore this topic in more depth, then check out the argument map I've created as a companion to this video. There you'll find video clips that explain the main argument and each of the solutions in more depth, and I provide links to peer-reviewed articles defending each solution that I've mentioned. This argument map is linked in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.